Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. And today we're taking a look at another Eufy product, and this one being the Eufy Solo Cam S40. Now technically this isn't one of their Pro line, but with it having the 2K sensor similar to all their Pro cameras, it essentially falls into that same sort of line. Now this is a bit of a unique product in the sense that it's probably about 3 products in one. So it's a battery powered camera, it's a floodlight, and it also has a built-in solar panel. So that is the main sort of positive point of this particular product. So they've kind of taken what people liked from all of their existing products, so the floodlights, the battery powered, easy to install cameras, and then the separate solar panel, and brought them all together. Now this particular product has been sent out to me for review by Eufy, but obviously all of my thoughts, my findings will obviously be my own, and they won't be influenced by Eufy in any way whatsoever. So initially what we're going to do in this video is just have a quick unboxing and first look, and then I will also go through the installation process as well as a sort of review. I will then also do a follow-up probably about 7 to 10 days after installation. This particular camera, I believe it is meant to maintain a sort of reasonable charge based on around about say 4 to 6 hours of sunlight, and at the moment in the UK basically we've just got overcast or rain. It's not the best time for me to actually install it, but I've already had this for a couple of months, so I just want to get it installed so that I actually get some testing done. So without further ado, let's dive in. So packaging wise, it is very similar to all of the other Eufy Anchor type products, where you have a little sleeve. Once you've opened it, you're then presented with the actual product itself. Okay, so opening it initially, you do get the camera. So the unit itself is probably, I would say, about 1.5 times what their Pro cameras are, as part of their Pro camera line, the batteries, battery powered ones, and the difference being that this is much wider. So depth wise it's probably about the same, but the width of it is obviously much wider. The solar panel itself is very different. So this is similar to their solar panels that they actually provide for their battery cameras, so the separate solar panel. So this is a very matte sort of looking solar panel, and from what my initial testing of the actual Eufy solar panel is, it will charge at a slow rate. So usually it's 2.5 watts, and that's just to maintain the longevity of the actual battery itself. What we also have on the front is obviously the camera itself, and then surrounded by that is the actual floodlight part of the unit, if you like. So what else do we get in the box? So you will, as always, get some paperwork. That'll all be contained within this pamphlet just here. And then finally you get a box with all of the sort of installation gubbins, if you like. So it does come with a USB cable, so it is micro, well actually no, yeah, so this one they've actually changed to USB-C. So this is the first Eufy camera that I've actually used where they're using USB-C as opposed to micro USB. And here is the actual mount itself. So that's all pretty standard. So in terms of the mount, 1/4" thread, if you want to use this one you can use this one, or like I've done with some of my other installations, you can actually just get your own off Amazon, eBay, whatever, and just use your own. So initially this does feel quite solid. In terms of angle, it seems relatively easy to actually adjust. So this is the part that you would mount on. You would then screw on the remaining part of the actual mount, and that just gives you a little bit more clearance when you're actually initially installing it, so then the actual collar of this isn't getting in the way. You then have adjustments, so this will pivot around, as well as the top obviously giving you a little bit more of a tighter grip in terms of the installation. I will try this particular mount initially just to see what kind of angle it's giving, because you can obviously install it either way. So you can have it facing down that way, or you can have it facing up, and that will probably give you all of the movement that you need in terms of angling the camera into the correct position. Apart from that, you just get the standard fixings. So you do get 4 wall plugs if you're installing this directly into concrete, and then you get 4 screws as well. There are only 3 holes, but they always give you 1 spare just in case you drop one. If you are going directly into wood, then obviously you don't need to use the wall plugs. Okay, and in terms of the paperwork, we'll just have a quick look at what we get in here. What I'm expecting is a user manual, some stickers, and yes, you do also get a positioning card. So what you do with this is you stick this wherever you want to actually install it, and then if you pop out the little holes, I'm not sure if you'll be able to actually see that on camera, the light might just catch it. There's 3 holes. If you pop those out, it tells you exactly where you need to drill, and it actually gives you instructions on the back as well for what size drill bit you need to use if you were going into brickwork. As I say, in my experience, whenever I've installed it into woodwork, then you can just, obviously these are self-tapping screws, so you can actually drill straight in. Now generally I won't actually use the ones that come with it because these ones are quite long for where I normally install it. You can get away with actually going half the size in my experience. This particular camera is a little bit heavier than some of the other ones that I've actually used, so I would probably suggest using the ones that it comes with, but you could probably get away with using smaller screws if the position where you want to install them requires it. So just taking a look on the back of the camera, yeah, so you do have a sync button on the back just there, as well as the USB-C port. Before you install it, give it a full charge and then set it up. Well, you set it up in the app, give it a full charge, and then it will guide you through how to actually install it in the app, and you can go back to that at any point, so that's always an option within the app. In terms of the unit itself, it feels nice and solid. The USB port is actually slightly different now, so where they've actually got it masked off, this particular material is very, very different. That was a complaint that I actually had with some of the other battery cameras, the fact that this rubber grommet was too thin, and basically the rainwater would still get in even when you've got it fully plugged in and closed off. Aside from that, nice good access to the actual 1/4 inch thread there, the mount, so you've probably got a wide variety of different mounts that you can actually use with it. You do have some information just on the bottom there, as well as what looks like a QR code. QR code, I'm pretty sure this doesn't work with HomeKit, but if it ever did further down the line, then I'm guessing that's what you would use to actually scan it in. Alongside that, as is requirement in a lot of states, you do have some stickers that you do have to put on in certain places around the world if you do have security cameras installed on your property. And then you do also have the quick start guide there as well. As I say, you can either go off the paper manual or you can actually follow the guide in the app. Generally, I tend to use the app whenever I come to doing the installation. Okay, so that is everything that you get in the pack. So you get the paperwork, you get the camera, you get the mount, you get the USB-C cable, and you also get the fixings as well. So next part of the video will be the setup, and then after that I'll do a quick insert for the installation itself, and then at the end of the video I'll give you some test samples as well as run a few tests in terms of battery life and things like that from the initial setup. Okay, so to add any new device in the Eufy SoloCam app, first thing you do is just launch the app. You then go to add device and you choose whichever type of device it is. So in this particular case it is the SoloCam Solar. So we click on that. Obviously you enter your Wi-Fi details. Once you've entered the Wi-Fi details, on the back of the camera you simply hit the sync button, so I'll do that now. As you can see, I heard a beep. Once you've heard the beep, on the front of the camera you'll see a flashing light. So after that you simply scan the code that will now appear on the screen using the camera.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
Once you've heard the 2 beeps, it will then follow the prompts and it should be added within a few moments. Okay, and there we have the device added. So now what you get in the app is just a run through in terms of naming the device, setting up a few settings, and it gives you instructions in terms of how to fully charge it initially. We now have the mounting instructions, and just following that, it'll actually give you quite a lot of guidance in terms of what is the right way to install it to ensure that it's actually getting enough charge. So you need to make sure that the whole of the solar panel is getting at least 2 hours of sunlight a day, and then it just gives you some suggestions in terms of if you're mounting in these particular places, what sort of setup you should have. Now in terms of setting up the PIR sensor correctly, what you want to do is make sure wherever you've got this mounted that anybody that's walking towards your house or whatever, they're walking across the frame as opposed to directly down the middle, and that will make sure that the PIR sensor is actually detecting correctly. My particular camera also had a firmware update, so make sure you get this done while it's indoors on charge rather than outside on battery power. Okay, so the next few clips are all to do with the installation itself. So as you can see here, I've attach the actual mount itself, so using 3 fixings, and then you just put the actual main connector part back on the front. Here you can see it in a little bit more detail, and now you should be able to see the difference in terms of the size between this and the standard cameras. So just at the top there you can see the standard Eufy Cam Pro, I believe. That one isn't actually a Pro, but they're both identical in terms of casing, and then this is the actual Solo Cam. So as you can see, not massive in terms of its size, but big enough to the point where hopefully the floodlight should be able to do its job properly. And you do also obviously get the option with this of having colored night vision as opposed to just using the IR sensors. Now where I've actually mounted it, I've got it set up primarily just to be able to give more light to my driveway itself, but hopefully with some of the test sample videos I'm going to include a little bit later on, you should be able to see the quality difference between the standard HD sensor and what you're getting with this 2K sensor. And the fact that you've got the solar panel built in, it just means that you never have to worry about it charging. And once again, here you can see the size difference between the standard Eufy cams and the Eufy Cam Solo. And finally, here are some sample images during the day. When I do my 7-day review, I will include more sample videos, including some night images as well. Okay, so that's it for this particular video. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe as well as hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified if I upload any new videos. And I'd really appreciate if you also give this video a thumbs up as well. And other than that, thanks very much for watching.